How much do you feel you know about Raekwon, and how much do you still need to find out?
Really, we're just waiting to see the last element that we haven't really we really haven't experienced yet, which is a real game. I mean, he's played one snap of a preseason game. Everything else tells us that, he's exactly what we drafted him to be, and now it's just going to be when we get to Sunday and the preseason games, do what he's been training to do.
What were the things you particularly liked last year about him?
I think as a rookie, you saw leadership qualities. You saw how smart he was, how fast he picked everything up. Really for him, it's almost we're trying to minimize how much he's thinking about because he processes a lot. And really when he sees something once, he can recall it and he knows how to adjust our defense very quickly. So really it's us trying to be like, this is important. Don't worry about these other three things. So he's heading in the right direction. I know that, it's good to see him back out there.
Adam, it's been a little inconsistent as far as what we've seen out of Jordan Phillips over the last few years. Which version of him do you feel like we have now?
So far through 2 days, he's done a good job. I know when you're a bigger guy like he is, the way that we're running the football, it's one thing to do it, in the spring. Now that the temperature's slightly up, when you're a big guy like that and you're running as much as he is, I mean, it's fatiguing, but he's doing a good job of embracing it because it's going to help him get in a really good shape. And athletically, he does some things that you just don't see many people be able to do. For a guy that size, the way he moves, the way that his athleticism is really, really off the charts.
Adam, it's not an ideal situation to have both injuries to Ryan and Raekwon last year, but how beneficial was it those two working together?
I think they did a good job of pushing each other. They were always competing. You'd hate to say it. It was good that they both had each other to go through that with. I mean, it hurt us, last year, but it was good for those two guys to have that other guy to really make sure, you stay focused on what you're doing. And plus, players in the NFL, they're competitors. So having somebody to compete with day in and day out, that helped those guys.
Adam, as a play caller, what's the challenges when you go up against a defense that's got three safeties on the field as opposed to maybe three corners and two safeties?
What are you hinting at?
I'm just curious.
I mean, we face a team that does it twice a year. So, I mean, it's the same defense. It's just different guy, just different body, different strength. They're better tacklers. Historically, I mean, I think we're lucky in this. In the case with Bobby, where he's a little more aggressive. He's not afraid to stick his, throw his body in there and go make a play. No matter what size the running back is. A lot of teams don't have that luxury. So that's why having a third safety that can kind of almost play that nickel position is valuable because, they can go in there and they can help in the run game.
How was Mika handled what you've seen so far?
I mean, I haven't had any complaints. I mean, he's done a good job. He's a guy that picks things up fast and he's always around. He's always making sure that he's not the weak link of, the group out there.
And regarding Charles Harris, he was telling us that he turned to the Lord, did a lot of prayer over the off season. Have you seen changes in him, whether it's physical or emotional, any kind of a different Charles Harris? Or did you need to see a different Charles Harris?
That's hard to evaluate because he's quiet. He seems to be, at least my experience has been more of one-on-one conversation. He hasn't really been somebody that's going to say too much when a bunch of people are around. But, last year there was a lot of good he did. I know when you're a rookie DN, everybody thinks sacks, hurry up and get those numbers up. And we really focused on how much are you disrupting the passer? How are you doing against the run? We weren't so much worried about how many sacks he had. And I think that was just a constant battle of just keep reminding him, this is what we're expecting from you. And I think that's always tough for a rookie, and I think this year he understands I'm just going to keep doing what I'm supposed to do as far as my job, being disruptive, and those type of numbers will come that he's looking for. And the way that he works, it's hard to believe that he won't have success. He's one of those guys that's always trying to be on the practice field, and everything he does, it's full speed.
And how would you measure success with him? I mean, would it be the same in year 2? Is it apply pressure, or does it need to turn into sacks or more playing time?
I mean, a lot of times when sacks are great because it's a negative play, but just the amount of times that you're touching the quarterback or causing him to throw the ball early or doing a great job setting the edge in the run game, you know, it's like Cam's a great example to kind of watch as when you run to his side, and this is just 3 years going against him, he's a way better run defender than anybody gives him credit for. And he does a great job of setting the edge, bringing the ball back inside, giving linebackers an opportunity to make plays. And, you know, really that's what you want to be, because when you're a really good pass rusher, some guys just end up doing that and don't really care about the run game. And I feel like Charles is very aware of, I want to be a good player both in the run and pass game.
So by all accounts, you weren't the least bit disappointed with him last year, but you went out and got a really good defensive end. So what do you see his role being this year?
We just knew how we were going to play this year, especially with adding Chris Kasarik. We knew that it's not going to be as many plays for our defensive linemen, because we're not going to have a guy that's going to play 70-plus snaps or 65 snaps. I mean, the way that we're running the football, the way that we're going to pursue every game, I mean, it's going to be less snaps and we're going to have more of a rotation. And I think everybody's going to get their shots. I think it's going to be a battle to get on that third down rush unit, which is a good thing, because now those guys are all pushing each other, and it's going to be one of those things where if you're on that group, that means that you're doing the right stuff. You're working well with that group. And really that's what we want. We want to create that type of competition where guys are hungry to get out there on that third down.
What have you noticed about Albert Wilson?
I think he's done a good job of coming in. He took the spring very serious. He did a good job of studying. He did a good job in the meetings. You know, he made some mistakes in the spring, but he didn't make the same mistake again. And he brings a professionalism. You can tell he's been in the league for a minute. And I think he has a lot of tools, not only as a receiver, but as a ball carrier that we can take advantage of. I mean, he's the type of guy that you just want to get the ball in his hands and really turn things into a punt return, or try to get him to where at least he has a little space to where he can make an explosive play.
You're in the uppers tomorrow, is that right?
Yes.
How much can you dial it up and not in full pads?
No, I mean, it's basically the same thing. The only difference is you're not going to go live to the ground. I mean, really, I mean, that's majority of my career, that's what I've known. I think it's just starting under Saban at an early age. I mean, that was a big thing with him, was you should be able to, you know, keep your feet, not go to the ground. It was a good way to make sure that guys were doing the right thing. Sometimes when you're in full pads, even when you're not live, guys have a tendency to take guys to the ground when that's not really what we're doing. And you can get all the same work as you would in full pads.
With David Phillips, how much, you've been with him for 3 years, did you ever think there would be a point where he would be competing for the number 2 spot?
That's a tough one. I don't know if I ever thought about it when in the previous years. I think last year when he came back and we watched him keep improving. I think when we left training camp, we thought, you know, he would be our 3, but we weren't keeping 3, you know. So when he came back and we kept seeing how he was improving and his arm strength, I noticed, like, the longer we went, the better his arm strength got. It seemed like he really started doing a good job in the weight room, where he was really, his core got a lot stronger, and I think that helped his velocity on some of his throws. And he has a very good presence about him, whether it be in the pocket, moving around. He can kind of see things that some quarterbacks can't see. And I think that's something that's caught our eye, and then allowing him to play in that last game, I think he earned the right to compete for that number 2 spot.
Is that the biggest difference in him now? Not just the pocket presence, but the arm strength?
I think with his anticipation and the improvement with his arm strength, because I do think it's better than what it's been, I think that that's something that's really kind of caught our eye more than anything.
What's your process for evaluating him against Brock for the number 2 spot? Do you need to see all 4 games?
I think it'll probably be a little bit of a feel, of like as we go through the training camp practices, and then when we get in the preseason, it'll be interesting to see if somebody separates each, one from the other, and that's why we're trying to give them, both of them, equal amount of reps with different groups, so we can get a clean evaluation, and it's going to be one of those things where, does it feel like this guy's really accelerated? Is good things happening when one's in and it's okay with the other? Sometimes that stuff kind of cleans up for you, especially when you get into the preseason games.
Wouldn't you have thought you'd be there by now somewhat?
It changes when you get into games. It's practice is different. Sometimes when you're doing like a third down period and the defense just knows you're just going, compared to a flow of a game when you're at first and second down and then a third down shows up every once in a while. It's a completely different feel in a game compared to practice.
What do you want Gesicki to keep in mind throughout this training camp and preseason?
I think he just has to keep getting better, keep working on his knowledge of the game, because a lot of times when we're running route, he may have run the same route 4 different times and he's seen 4 different coverages. And I think the more that he keeps taking in and learning from, that's going to be beneficial to him. Yesterday, I think he lost his legs a little bit. We were kind of giving him a hard time about that, but I think those are good that, some of our younger guys are going through that right now and realizing, okay, it's not going to change. So it's about recovery, it's about getting sleep, it's about hydrating, all those type of things to put yourself in position to where when you go out there, you can make plays. And, once we really start picking it up with some of the third down stuff in the red area, I think you'll see him kind of really starting to be more involved.
With Ryan, it's pretty well established. You think he's performing at a high level. What particularly is he doing well that maybe in years past it took him a minute to get?
That's a tough one to really say exactly what it is. I think it was we were learning we were all trying to learn the offense, and I'm trying to learn them. So that was the early stages of the offense, and really once we hit the spring last year, he was just trying to fine tune more throws, the accuracy, the pinpoint accuracy, and instead of missing the ball, throws just a little bit, he was trying to put it exactly where he wanted it. And I think that's just this year. It's even like the next step. He's trying to see things and get us out of plays and making sure that everybody's on the same page. I just think it's slowed down for him mentally as far as being able to communicate with guys. If a guy has a question, that's not going to mess him up for what else he has to do. Where when you first get in an offense, sometimes you can get your mind all jumbled up, and next thing you know, you're not paying attention to the coverage, or you make a mistake and don't see a guy kind of drop in there at safety position. So I don't think that stuff really gets him anymore. I think he's able to kind of fix something and just keep his focus.
You mentioned with the backups that it's obviously different in the game. We haven't seen him obviously in the game since December of 2016. What do you need to see to feel like, okay, this is legit? What do we see in practice that's going to translate?
He's done the same, at least in my experience. What I've seen in practice, what I've seen has been almost a better version, because when you throw in tackling and his ability, because sometimes in practice you watch and you're like, yeah, we wouldn't have got that throw off, and then we get a game, he stands in there and takes a good hit, but he doesn't shy away from stepping into the throw. He completes the ball. So some of the things that you think aren't going to be real, they end up being real, and he ends up making throws that you don't expect him to make. And at the same time, I do think that his size and his ability to move, that's beneficial to us, because he gets us out of a lot of trouble, and he helps our run game as well.
Moore had a nice run today. Do you scratch your head when you turn on the tape at the age of this guy? How is he able to do that?
I'm not paying attention to his age anymore, because he doesn't look different. I was with him 10 years ago. It looks the same. He does a phenomenal job. He's been preparing all spring. All I heard about is wait to training camp. I'm like, I got you. I believe you. Trust me. Like, he is the last person I will ever doubt. Just seeing what he's done through his career starting in college, he's proven every person wrong that ever doubted him.